involved, always skipping over would-be tacklers, making ground, as is Pierre Spies. So it's a little bit unfortunate the ball was knocked on there.
I've been very impressed with Scotland's defence. They really are throwing themselves into it. My only concern is that they might knock themselves out, not literally, but just the effort they're putting in. You can see here, oh, that might have been a hand on the ground, just dislodged it. But look, John Barclay scrambling, Mike Blair. John Barclay, we've hardly mentioned his name in country, but he's made so many tackles. And here's another one here from Tom Evans. He marshalled that very well, because Jim Hamilton was inside him, not the quickest obviously, got a slight knock, but Scotland are having to make so many tackles in this second half, and that just might tell in the last 5-10 minutes.
Mike Blair, I wonder if he'll be playing against the box in the red for the Lions in the summer, and there's two men who will have a say in that. Andy Urban on the left and the great Gerald Davis on the right, the Lions manager. Two great men of this great game.
There's the charge down at the start. That won't get him selected for the Lions, unfortunately, but then this will. Look at him. Great feet. Goes to ground, keeps it going. He's brave, he's committed. Technically very good. He's played a very different game this week, Nick, than he did last week. He ran everything this week. He's probably kicked the ball 5 times, and I don't remember him kicking it last week. Different tactics.
Well, we're into the final quarter, and Scotland are within a point. Forget the fact they led 10-0 at half-time. They'd have settled for that going into the game. How much gas do they have left in the tank? The ball's in play so much more this season with the new ELVs, the experimental law variations. So much more a test of physicality and just how much they've got left in the tank, as much as anything. The durability will be tested now, of the mind and of the body, as Godman goes cross-field and Peterson gathers. Well, we take the fitness of these guys for granted sometimes, Andy, as Peterson rather fluffs his kick, but it's going to be a question of fitness now over this last 20 minutes. Do Scotland have enough left in the petrol tank to really threaten South Africa over the remaining quarter?
A lot of the players said last week's game against the All Blacks was the fastest they'd ever played, and a lot of that was decided by Scotland. They wanted to play at the tempo. This has been a different game altogether. It's not been nearly as lung-busting, but it's been physical, and they've had to expend so much energy in the tackle. But I think they're a fit group of players here. I don't think that'll be a problem.
They've lost the line out. January has it unexpectedly. Pienaar to de Villiers. Eventually worked for Southwell. Didn't really get the distance on that he would have wanted, but did well to tap it back towards his teammates, and Ben Cairns does the hoovering. Drive from Scott Gray, the 30-year-old who was raised in Zimbabwe, grew up playing with South Africans. South Africa, though, have the penalty. Ruan Smith at the bottom of that.
Isolated.
Mike Blair just couldn't get the ball away quickly enough for Dave Pearson's liking.
This is Mike Blair, tries to take around the side. Ruan Smith gets him. Now, I have to say, Ruan Smith has to let go as the tackler. He has to let go of the tackled player, and he didn't allow Mike Blair to do anything, and Dave Pearson penalised him. A lot of referees would have interpreted that the other way.
The Scottish substitution, first in the front row this time. Alan Jacobson is being replaced, and he's been replaced by Alistair Dickinson, the Gloucester prop. His test match education continues against the world champions. World champions who only lead by a solitary point on a blustery afternoon in Edinburgh. January to Ruan Smith. Penalty against Scotland. Is that Jim Hamilton who was penalised? It could be costly.
Scotland had a bit of pressure in the South African half. Concede a line-out throw, kick down the far end, and then straight away they concede a penalty. And it's almost like Dave Pearson's hand can only go at one way, but they're all genuine penalties. And Scotland just can't afford to give South Africa these opportunities.
Scotland have this penalty to face, while South Africa make more changes in the backs. Jean de Villiers, the Stormers centre, has been replaced by Frans Steyn. Precocious youngster. See what Steyn can do over the final 15 minutes, but a kick that would give South Africa a 4-point cushion.
13.
He's got it. Struck it well. And South Africa have turned this match around in the second half. 10 points down at the break. They now lead by 14 points to 10. But there's still plenty of life left in this game. There's still plenty of life left in it. But Scotland have got to show some character now. Pienaar again clears long. Bear in mind that there is a ferocious breeze running from left to right, so that was in the face of the breeze, and it still made, what, 40-50 metres. Blair to Godman. Scotland off in search of another try. Alistair Dickinson helping the process. Blair again. John Barkley did very well to hang on to that. Godman passes. Southwell cuts inside and does well to scramble over halfway when he was looking in some trouble. Godman again continuing to pass the ball through the hands. This is Lamont. Does well to spill out of the tackle. What was it? 1 try in 6 hours. I've got a sense, Andy, that they're going to need another try before this match is out if they are to create one of the big upsets of the season. I don't think they're going to do it with penalties now. Barkley waits. Oh dear, that was loose. And it really just hands the ball back to South Africa. Ruan Smith becoming a bit more prominent as this second half wears on. Skulkberg has been prominent from the very first minute. Here's Jaque Fourie, the scorer of the try, and Janchez was just beginning to open his eyes and think that there were possibilities here, and now Southwell was in trouble and he was being hunted down by the big game hunter Berger, and in the circumstances not much more Southwell could have done there. Here's Frans Steyn. Don't need to introduce you to the power of his right boot. Tom Evans straight into the arms of January. Jacobs, ball looked forward. Dave Pearson was on the spot, he was happy. Pienaar, South Africa stretching it with the skipper John Smith. This is Ruan Smith. Andres Becker picking the line on the far right hand side. Smith again charges through a Scottish door that is beginning to creak. Terrific take from Berger. This is Steyn. South Africa looking lively, looking for the score that may well do it for them. Terrific defence again. On that occasion it was young Ben Cairns, the Edinburgh centre, and as hard as South Africa huff, Scotland are equal to it in defence.
This is one of the best defensive displays I've seen from Scotland for a long while. Again, Ben Cairns is a player we've probably not mentioned in commentary, but he's doing so much work. This was the end of it, but he was involved in many occasions in that long passage of play, and it just, for me, South Africa have just cranked it up. Ruan Smith has been at the heart of everything, and Becker, you have to go low when you're that size, and Rory Lamont does it absolutely perfectly and didn't let go of him. Great textbook tackle by Rory Lamont.
Well, Lamont's been in the wars. He's only just back from a shoulder injury.
Like I mentioned, when Hugo Southwell was down injured early on at the try, or the non-try as it was, Scotland can't afford any more injuries to outfield players in the backs, because Rory Lawson is the only back that's not in the field to play with Chris Patterson. Well, there's Dan Parks. In fact, there's Dan Parks who could easily come on as well.
Big throw for Ross Ford. He finds big Jim Hamilton, the former Leicester lock, now earning his corn up here with Edinburgh. Blair, high ball, test for Fourie. January, Pienaar hoists it high. That's an interesting one. It was well taken by Godman. 10 minutes to go. And Scotland didn't touch the ball down, so here they go with ambition. Lamont. There's the ball for Blair. Needs one more stamp just to clear it from the thorns. Southwell to Godman. Cairns quickly on, and it needed to be from Alistair Dickinson. Struggling for penetration at the moment though. Cairns waits. Blair to Nick DeLuca. Blair again. Dickinson charging through. Now Godman, they've managed to create overlaps here if they can use them. Ali Hogg on the charge. He had Tom Evans outside, and I just wonder if the earlier pass to Tom Evans might have created something. They're still on. Mike Blair, the skipper. This is Cairns. If he cuts inside, he might score.